Have you ever felt like you are the only one making any sense in the room? I mean, you're trying to push a project forward, make a sale, or just get your point across, but it feels like you're speaking a completely different language. Well, the book we're breaking down today, Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erikson, says the problem isn't them, it's that you haven't cracked their code. And in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the key. We have all been there, right? In a big meeting, maybe at the dinner table with family, you're trying so hard to explain something, but it just feels like your message is hitting a brick wall. It's beyond frustrating, and it makes you think, why is it so easy to click with some people, but a total uphill battle with others? And here's the thing, it's not just you. The author himself, Thomas Erikson, felt the exact same way. He noticed that some conversations just flowed, they were effortless, but others, they were like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. He realized this wasn't just some social awkwardness, it was a huge barrier to getting anything done. And that's what set him on the path to find a real solution. So, let's just get right into it, this whole provocative idea. Are we actually surrounded by idiots, or is there something bigger going on here? Erikson shares this fantastic story about a CEO, a guy named Storr, who was absolutely convinced he'd hired a team of complete incompetents. But the real problem? Storr was what the book calls a classic red personality, and he was judging everyone by his own standards. The people he thought were idiots just operated differently. And that right there is the big takeaway. The problem isn't other people's incompetence. It's our own lack of perspective. So how do we get that perspective? How do we fix this? Well, the book gives us a super simple but really powerful system for decoding human behavior. It's all based on something called the DISC model. Now, that stands for dominance, inducement, submission, and compliance. But forget the jargon. To make it way more intuitive, Erikson just uses 4 colors. And these 4 colors represent the fundamental ways people behave, giving us a mental map to understand literally everyone. And this simple grid is everything. It's the whole foundation. On one axis, you've got extroverts versus introverts, where we get our energy. And on the other, you've got task-oriented versus relation-oriented, what we focus on. Just figuring out where someone lands on this map is the first step to really communicating with them effectively. So here's your cheat sheet. Reds are all about control. Yellows are all about involvement and inspiration. Greens, they're focused on connection. And blues, they need organization and correctness. Every single person you meet is primarily driven by one of these. So let's break them down. All right, it's time to meet the 4 personalities. And as I'm going through each one, don't just think about your coworkers or your family. I want you to ask yourself, which one of these sounds most like me? First up, we've got the Reds. These are your ambitious, goal-oriented drivers. They're extroverted, they're task-focused, they move fast, they make decisions in a snap, and they're always thinking, what's the goal and how can we get there? My way, right now. Reds are born leaders. They absolutely thrive on challenges and will metaphorically run through walls to hit a target. But that same incredible drive can make them seem impatient, even controlling. They get so laser-focused on the finish line that they can totally forget to listen to the people running alongside them. Next, let's talk about the Yellows. These are the social butterflies of the world. They're extroverted and totally relationship-focused. They bring this amazing energy, optimism, and creativity to pretty much everything they touch. Yellows are incredible at persuading and networking. They're the people with a million friends and the best stories. Their enthusiasm is just contagious. But the downside? They can be a bit disorganized, they get bored really easily with routine, and sometimes they're so busy talking they forget to listen. Now let's look at the Greens. This is actually the most common personality type out there. Greens are introverted and relationship-focused. They are the calm, stable, super reliable supporters you find in any great team or family. I mean, Greens are the ultimate team players. They are so patient, predictable, and they are amazing listeners who value harmony above all else. Their biggest challenge, though, is that they really don't like change, and they will avoid conflict at all costs. This can sometimes make them seem a bit passive or cause them to just bottle up their feelings. And finally, we have the Blues. These are your cautious, logical, detail-oriented analysts. They are introverted, they are task-focused, and they are driven by one thing, quality and getting it right. Blues just have to get things right. They are so thorough, so systematic, and they ensure there's quality in everything they do. Think Bill Gates, maybe Mr. Spock.
But their need for all the information can make them slow to pull the trigger on a decision, and their intense focus on the task can sometimes make them seem a bit cold or distant.
Okay, so being able to spot the colors, that's step one. But the real power, the thing that will absolutely level up your ability to influence people, comes from knowing how to adapt your style. This is where the knowledge becomes a genuine superpower. The book uses this perfect analogy. Think of your communication style like a toolbox. A sledgehammer is awesome for demolition, but it's totally useless if you're trying to hang a picture. See, there is no best personality. The true master of communication knows exactly which tool to pull out for which job and for which person. So this is your new playbook. To get a red on your side, be direct and focus on the results. Don't waste their time. To inspire a yellow, bring the energy and give them time to brainstorm and chat. To earn the trust of a green, you have to be patient and create a safe, stable environment. And to convince a blue, you've got to bring the data, the facts, and then give them time to process. You have to stop communicating how you want to communicate and start communicating how they need to hear you. Look, understanding this framework isn't just some interesting party trick. When you really apply this stuff, it honestly feels like you have a superpower. But just watching this isn't enough. As this pyramid clearly shows, real skill only comes from doing. So here's your mission, starting right now. Actively practice this. In your very next meeting, on your next phone call, try to identify the colors in the room. Then, consciously change your approach. That is how you go from theory to true mastery. And this brings us to the most important mindset shift in the entire book. The goal isn't just to put people in boxes. It's to realize that the so-called idiots aren't idiots at all. They're just different. And when you can finally respect, understand, and adapt to those differences, that's when you become truly unstoppable. So I'll leave you with this question. Who is the one person in your life, your boss, a key client, maybe your partner, that if you could just communicate with them a little bit better, it would change absolutely everything? Figure out their color, make a plan, and let me know in the comments what your color is and who you're going to practice on first. If you're serious about mastering your mindset and hitting your goals, make sure you subscribe. Now go out there and lead.